This is my channel, LASSO'S Passions. Fixing my seat. Of what I call reflections and also midnight reflections. And so I'd come on here for a minute. I take questions from people, comments from people, anything you want to say. This is a time to say it. I'm taking this time to think about my morning, focus and zero in on the things I need to get done. I've been aiming okay, I have a goal I'm aiming for. That goal is the goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's been a bit of a harder task than I imagined. It's taking a lot more from me and sacrifices, a level of discipline and all kinds of stuff. And plus a willingness to keep learning and growing, that kind of thing. So, and making mistakes every day on YouTube and learning from them. And sometimes you make them again and go, oh, why did I do that again? I already know better. And sometimes it's tiring. YouTube is very tiring. To be a content creator is very tiring. I think people don't realize how much of a full-time job it is to be a YouTube content creator, So to be any kind of success on YouTube, that is, to have any kind of real success and have, that kind of thing going on. So, but I'm on here chilling. I have about an hour that I can just chill here for a minute and just talk to myself. I'm reflecting on the day and yesterday and everything, how it all went, how it's going right now. So like right now, I'm doing really well considerably. For example, I looked at my analytics, which I already have a video ready to go. I'm going to post that here probably, 9? Yeah, 9. Posted at 9. Usually it's the first thing I post, but I couldn't help it. That sun ray was so beautiful. It was hitting the bench just right. It's been hitting that bench just right every single morning. So it's nice to just like take a break from everything, go sit there for literally 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. Breathe. My body's sore from working out intensely, so I've been working on my breathing exercises, and there's a lot of breathing exercises where you breathe in, hold in. It expands out your body, and you can kind of, when you start twisting and stretching, it kind of helps stretch out a little more when you hold your breath in. So I did those kind of exercises out there, but I really should do more like take that breath in really deep. I need to do more of that because I've been just breathing kind of shallow lately. So I figure, they say breathing, taking the time to meditate and focus on your breathing, right? Get that airflow in. So I need to do that after this little reflection. I'm going to do that. But essentially, yeah, I'm just thinking about the day. And like I tell everybody, this is the time to ask me questions. If you have any comments that you want to throw at me, anything you see I can improve on. Today, one thing I have to get done today, please remind me for watching, I got to get those wireless microphones. I have to. It's like I've been avoiding it, but then when I go do it, something happens. Yo, what up? We got, oh, hey, it's you. Rising. I haven't seen a bit. Are you the one that's, I won't even guess because I always guess wrong. There's a couple of people from Australia and Russia. Right now, I'm going to get ready. I'm just chilling, to be honest. I'm chilling. I'm taking questions. I'm looking at comments. I've been thinking about my day ahead, and already I'm doing really well. I'm already up 2,000 views this morning, and I got up like 2 hours ago. So pretty good start to the YouTube thing. I have an hour to chill. I don't have an hour to chill usually, but now I'm doing this thing where every now and then I'm here. Bro, playing music. Said hi. Play in music. I have music in the background. You're saying? You think that'll be better, or play music, like bust out the guitar and start and fiddle faddle? Yeah. What's up, man? How are you? How you doing? How are you doing, sir? Actually, I need to stop by your YouTube channel and see what you're all about. Sometimes I do that. When people talk to me, I'll actually go to your YouTube channel, check it out. I'll even subscribe. If I haven't yet, I will. Why not? Why not? I'll subscribe to your channel if you're doing something. That's another thing I'm trying to do. See, this is great. See, this is what happens. We start talking, Oh, is that the musician you're talking about? You saying play that music? If it's copyrighted, I can't play it. I can't play it if it's copyrighted. I'm just saying. If it's copyrighted, I can't play it. What's funny is YouTube has a playlist that you can play. It's copyright or whatever that you could play. It's really not the best music, but it's good enough. Yeah, but yeah, I'm very familiar with this Kikadap fella. I know who he is. Pretty cool. But like I said, I can't play it because I'll get a copyright strike and they'll shut me down. They'll come in with their special forces YouTube and shut me down. Shut it down. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking out of my butt. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'm just fooling around, hanging out, cracking jokes, cracking jacks, cracking the jocks. You gotta stay happy, or else you get too many wrinkles in life. You don't want that. Nobody wants that. Who wants that? Nobody. Nobody goes to a store and goes, "Can I buy some cream to create more wrinkles on my face, please?" No. So why do you do things in life that stress you out, fill you with anxiety, that create those wrinkles? You're not getting enough sleep. It's literally like going to the store and saying, "Hey, can I buy that cream that makes my face wrinkle up?" That's the interesting thing about habits. You change them, you tweak them, and you notice that you're a little bit healthier. You notice that, if it's not going right, then maybe try something else. Then you'll feel a little bit healthier. It's trial and error, That's all you can do in life is as your own, you're yourself, your own scientist. And you're going out experimenting, figuring things out, finding the job, finding the relationships, finding the friends. It's a constant cycle of just experimenting, seeing what works, what doesn't, and when it does, it's great. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like, at least lately. But I've given myself permission to kind of take a step backwards, and sometimes taking a step back isn't necessarily a bad maneuver. Like look in the soccer fields. When they play soccer, they pass the ball back sometimes because there's just too much pressure, and rather than lose the ball trying to maneuver something, they just hold on to it, kick it back, forces the other team to move forward, and then it spreads them out, and then you find a way in, right? So sometimes I've accomplished so many things month to month to month to month, like ridiculous, like this is unheard of. I'm running a marathon, I'm still running it, and no one is accomplishing the things I'm accomplishing month to month, at least locally, on a local level. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people accomplishing things, but the way I do it, month to month to month, I have a goal, I set it, best actor, boom. Huge sold out paint sip event, 60 people, boom. Paint a museum, for $10,000, boom. Debuted on stage, boom. Had my movie theater, boom. Ran a film festival, it was successful, boom. You know what I'm saying? It just back to back to back to back nonstop. And then right now, the biggest thing is the YouTube. It's taken me a little longer. It's taken me longer than a month to accomplish it, but not that I'm trying to accomplish things month to month. It's just working out that way because I'm just like going in. But at the same time, I'm taking steps back. It's weird. I'm taking steps back in the sense that I'm taking steps back away from certain communities that aren't seemingly like places for me to grow. Hey, we got a comment. Hello, Mr. Lasso. How are you been? I really love that you are accomplishing things. Godspeed. More power to you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Right back at you. Whatever it is you're doing in life, take little steps. I'd take little baby steps. It's not a big deal. It takes time, right? Everything I do takes time. It's not like I just, hey, tomorrow I'm doing this, I'll get it done. No, it took a lot of years of training, of being in the field, of doing things. It just happened to be that everything accumulated so that everything is just blooming month to month, But it takes years. It takes years to do all these things. It took me a year to get all my lines down, get a year of rehearsal, but there was 4 months where I wasn't doing anything. So really, take those 4 months out. What do you have? 8 months. 8 months of of going to the theater, being part of the community, rehearsing, doing the lines, the cues, messing up, and whatever. It took about like 8 months, a whole year, right? So it wasn't like just overnight that I was like, okay, now I'm going to do stage. No, I had the goal of doing it, yes, and I pursued it when I could, and finally did it. But the sad thing is, I'm so busy that it takes me away. Like I'm always cycling through things, and I can't seem to pick one thing and stick to it. Like most people do. I have to like do one thing, move on to a completely different project. Because, to be honest, if I'm not passionate about what I'm doing, I'm going to move away from it and just go to the thing I'm passionate about. If film, film is the thing I'm really passionate about most, but I hit a wall here, there. I was like, okay, well, let's just go somewhere else because I'm just hitting walls everywhere and people are putting up walls on purpose. So you know what? I've called it out, pissed off people that I called it out, and whatever. So I had to step back and reassess and put my focus somewhere else that I could put my focus in, and there's been a lot of growth, a lot of growth. I think the growth I'm experiencing, a lot of people, it takes them probably a decade. I'm not even kidding. It takes them a decade to get to where I am. It took me from November, spending time with books written by experts. I spent literally 2 months reading 20 books by experts on different subjects that I felt I was lacking, that I felt like I never got from any education, I never got from anybody, just things that were lacking that made my life more difficult. It's true. I mean, knowledge is power, and applying that knowledge makes you more powerful, and so it's just one of those things where I just felt like, man, I just keep hitting walls, I keep failing, and it's not that I'm a bad worker or anything. It's just that sometimes there's information that's lacking, that's not connecting the dots, and you can't. And sometimes you don't have what they call placement. Some people have placement in life. They have rich uncles and this and that. I mean, I don't even have family here. I have my parents, and that's about it. That's it. I don't have the uncle, the grandparents, the cousins. I'm saying a lot of people have that, and that's an enrichment that money can't buy. That's wealth money can't buy. And the other thing that I'm finding is gardening. Gardening is a different kind of wealth that money can't buy. Although you can buy plants. I mean, you can always buy people to work for you, but do they really like care about you? Really on your team? The garden and stuff, you can buy plants, but are you really growing with the plants? And and really, like, there's a whole process to everything, and there's a whole experience to everything. Buying a plant is kind of a cop out versus planting it in a seed, helping it grow, and then it matures, and then you put it in the ground, and then you take care of it, and then it gives you fruit. That's a lot of labor that you register in your brain and go, next year, oh, I see how this process works. Next year I'm going to tweak some things so I'm a little better. I can do things a little quicker, perhaps. We got some comments. How do you have so much mental clarity? A lot of people in these are doing drugs, watching porn, and masturbating, and they are out of mental clarity. How do you manage your life mentally? That's a great question. Yeah, money can't buy anything, but it gives you peace of mind. Yeah, for sure. It can, or it can destroy your peace of mind. You'd be surprised how having more money creates more problems. Just like how that song says. I think there's actually a very interesting book called Adulting 101, and they said that if too much money can cause unhappiness, but a certain amount, the right amount of money, can actually create everything you need, right? And be balanced. And it was something like, I think it was like $300,000 a year, 500, something like that. That would create a lifestyle that would be abundant, and as well, you'd be able to have that full life, right? But that's all perspective. I mean, you could have a full life with a camper out in nature. That's it. You could have complete fulfillment with just that. But some people have fulfillment with having kids, a spouse, all that stuff. And then some people, that's their jam. For some people, it's not. And it's okay. You have to realize that some people, that's their jam, and some people, it's not. It's okay. But I don't want to get too far away, because you said something about mental clarity. I'll tell you something about mental clarity, because you're right. Distraction is our number one enemy. Once you realize that the only way for you to be truly productive is to eliminate distractions. And when you start slowly eliminating distractions from, because the only way to be productive is to be focused, zero in, and honed in on something, right? So if you have a goal and you're working towards something, now you know that the fastest way to get that goal achieved is by eliminating distractions, right? And so, but also I ask myself, how do I increase my productivity? Well, that means cutting toxins away that make me sleepy, that take away from my potential of accomplishing, setting new goals, new records. I mean, but see, I have something exciting that I'm chained to. I chain myself to something exciting, which is not just growing as a person, but growing on YouTube. That just makes it a lot more interesting for me. Finding things that interest you, your passions. A lot of kids that get into sports don't do drugs because they're completely involved in their passion. They want to grow. I think people who don't want to grow, who don't find their passions, who aren't lit up and have that fire, don't know what to do. And it's so easy to be like, well, time's moving on. What are we gonna do? Light up. Here's the thing, though. I'm not even gonna lie. I smoke marijuana, but the thing is, marijuana. I see the benefits in it. I also see maybe not so much the best benefits of it, but there's a lot of benefits to it. So the plant itself, hemp, is an amazing plant. There's so many things that could benefit society, humanity with hemp alone. THC, CBD. These are things, oils, natural oils, that you can't technically say, because I'm not a doctor, that help you out. The terpenes. Look up the terpenes. What are terpenes? Well, what are terpenes in marijuana? Well, they're special little, I don't know, enzymes or oils, whatever. I don't know what it is, but it's something that every different strand has like a certain amount of different kind of terpenes. There's like piney terpenes, more of a pine terpene, and that has like a different kind of effect, on the body. It's very interesting. Today's knowledge on marijuana is so extensive that there should be no reason for people to go, oh, you smoke marijuana? Oh, let's put you in prison. There's no reason. It's just like, if anything, you should put people in prison for drinking alcohol. And they do once they commit a horrible act. But I think alcohol should be completely like abandoned. It's just literally poison. It's literal poison. You're drinking literal poison. You know what I mean? It's like, why is it? I never understood why society. I get it, because if you want to rule over people, what do? You keep them drunk. You keep them intoxicated. You keep them stupid with entertainment and distractions, right? Right? That's my guess. If I had to guess, if somebody wanted to manipulate me from a higher power, because that's what they do, I would assume that's what they would throw at me every second of my life. And not only that, now they're intrusive because they literally live in a computer that I have in front of me that's recording me, and and now it's like integrated, but that's life, man. Life is an integration of different things happening all at once, and somebody thinks they're winning at once, and then boom, they get overturned. It's just, life is this. Life is just this. You don't know what's going to happen next. You may think you may have plans, and just like the Joker said, people make plans and have agendas, but he was just a dog on a leash. I'm not a dog on a leash, but I'm just saying, he understood the world for what it is, and I can completely agree with his sentiments. Not that I would agree with his philosophical approach, but he's an agent of chaos. I'm an agent of peace. I'm the complete opposite of the Joker, but I completely understand the world just like he does. And don't get me wrong, Batman is not the opposite of Joker. Some people may think he's in the same category. He's crazy. You would have to be crazy to be Batman. That's the thing that most people don't get. He's freaking insane. But he does stand for justice and good, but he's still insane. He's still like, but a lot of ways you'd almost have to be to take on people like the Joker, fictitious characters that fight each other. These are the we look up to. The Romans had their gods and whatever. Now today's generation, we have Superman. This is a god, a type of god. It's a human with godly powers. There's all these like X-Men. These are our modern day gods. They're taking over. It's kind of interesting to see. I wonder if one day people will actually believe that Superman is real and Batman is actually real, like down the line, down. We're talking like 1,000 years later, 2,000 years later, where people go back and there's like, what? There was a bat. There's statues of what? A bat guy in a bat suit. There's a guy wearing, like, what is this? What is this? Like, was there a race of superhuman people that we didn't know about? And now, like, we lack those powers. Oh, because the aliens took it away from us. You know what I mean? It's just like, can you imagine, like, what are societies going to think of us, like, down the line? If we exist, technology came from a different, planet, if you will, intelligence, if you will, and so, like some probes came in the earth. Humans took the technology. They were like, oh, what is this? And like, oh, we can incorporate this in our own stuff. Oh, there's information here. What is this? Oh, we can build an AI thing that's restricting us from the probe. Oh, wow. This will increase our potential as humanity. Little do they know, they're building a bridge to a planet of a different alien race that they're gonna ready to take over. Have you ever thought about that perspective on the AI? That it's actually a bridge between a different planet, because species can't really travel, but they figure out a way by sending a probe to a planet that the species there creates the technology for the aliens to be able to take control. Did I just blow your mind? Did I just blow your mind? This is all speculative for fun. I'm always just thinking, being a jokester. Did I scare you, though? Did I just scare your pants with that one? I bet I did. I bet you didn't even think about that one, how AI is the bridge to a different planet, different species who's sent a probe, and we stupid humans think we're so clever, we take that technology to increase our power, but lo and behold, we just literally build a bridge to a different species who's going to get ready to take over. And that's when Jesus returns. That's when Jesus returns. Did I just complete the whole story cycle? Did I just... He would have to return because we screwed ourselves over with AI. He would have to return to stop the alien invasion, And he probably already knew this. Jesus was like, damn, there's a fucking alien invasion coming, and they're not going to see it. I'm going to have to come back because they're going to screw themselves over. Oh, stupid human. Stupid. Nah, I'm speculating. I'm just cracking jokes. Whether you believe in aliens or whatever, that's all on you. Some people believe religions. That's all on you. I could care less for religions, but I do see how it helps people. Also I see how it enslaves people. It's like a double-edged sword. You get one thing from it, but then it takes one thing away from you. A certain kind of freedom that you don't experience because you're completely, I don't want to say it because it offends people, brainwashed, believing certain things that could be completely untrue. It could be completely made up. It's all based on stories. And what do we know about stories? Well, I'm a writer. I'm an actor. I've been a fan of Shakespeare. I was like 13 years old studying Shakespeare. And the first thing I noticed is the world is a stage. It really is. People fake things. They make things up to get their way, to manipulate, shift things. The play doesn't stop at the stage. It continues. It's like a meta thing. Here's the theater that people go watch plays, and then here's life that they live in. The elites create a bubble that you live in, that they control, and that's the theater you live in. And they pump propaganda with the little television that they put in living rooms in the 50s and 60s. A complete evolution. Another evolution was the cell phone and social media, how they control and watch, and how you feed them information nonstop. Humanity feeds information nonstop to something, and something is learning and watching, steadily, observing. all the information, just like how I watch analytics and go, if I tweak this, this will make things better. If I do this, that will make things. There's something out there studying the entire behavior of humanity by the fact that every person has a cell phone. Not only that, the governments make sure of that too. You can get a free phone if you don't got one. They're happy to provide it because they want that info from you. They need that information. They want it. They want it. Like blood. They want it. All right. Anyways, let's see. I'm just. The theory about Superman and God is great because in Islamic culture there is a story about a boy. I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. Isaf, please correct me. And a girl, Nayla. I'm sorry, and they had sex in Kaaba, the current Muslim pilgrimage. Interesting. They were turned to stone, but after a long time, people started to worship them and relate them with God stories. And today, people throw stones on their stone statues. Wow. Wow. You just blew my mind, bro. That's crazy. So, again, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but there's some power to relics and stories, right? There's an amazing power to stories and relics, and how people can immediately turn hateful. Hateful. We I think the most important thing we can do, no matter what anything or anybody tells us, is to maintain a level of peace and alignment. And I think there's a lot of trickery in the world that tricks us to hating certain things and this. But in reality, why? Because it said so? It's telling you to hate it? It told you in a story? No. There's not enough story. No, I'm sorry. I'm the kind of person that, you could hurt me, you can hurt my family. I'm not going to retaliate. I'm going to go to God and be like, why? Why does this happen to me? I'll accept it. I'll accept my fate and grow from this. But if you ask me, I'm going to retaliate in hatred? No. The only war I'm at, is the war against hatred and like real hatred, and of any kind. Sometimes I have my own issues. I have a little jealousy. But I'm overcoming those things. I'm squashing those demons, squashing them, because they're nasty little ones, aren't they? They're nasty. They sneak in there. You gotta be clever as a snake, but lighthearted and sweet as a dove. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, trickery is so powerful and pronounce the names perfectly fine. Oh, thank you kindly. Hey, it's great to find somebody who has a completely different experience in life, different world, and we can click on something. As long as we can find something we can agree on, there's always room for peace, right, and growth, and for things to be good. We don't want bad. Bad is not good. For certain people it is. For certain people, chaos is good for them because it keeps them in power. So it's a sad thing that people are willing to stoop that low and create that much hatred and chaos and maintain it through authoritative power. It's tragic. It's tragic when a leader is not pure-hearted, doesn't have a gold heart. It's what we need. We need leaders with gold hearts. Where do we find those people? Probably amongst all of us, a sea of people. I know there's in a sea of people who stay quiet. You've never heard of their names, have probably one of the purest hearts you can find. People in general have this resonance in life. It resonates just larger than any of our organs, right? It produces an energy, a field, if you will, just like our brain. But the heart is much stronger, and especially when you're feeling strong emotions. That's why we lose control sometimes when emotions go the other way, and we let go the other way. It's a fact that we still have a choice. We don't have to go anger. We don't have to. It's a choice. It is. Before you let it out of the gate, you have a choice. Do I let the anger out of the gate, or do I keep it in the gate? Find a different way to let it out. Where do I point my anger at? I point it towards art. I always tell people I'm at war with art. I'm not at war with people. People may cause issues, and I'll speak up about it, and then they suddenly, instead of communicating, they become basically enemies. I'm not an enemy. They're not an enemy to me, but I become an enemy to them, and that's how they view me, and they start attacking me. Right? And I've been attacked many times in my life, not physically, but career wise, community wise. They ban you. They spread rumors, hateful rumors. It's just it's sick. It's a sick thing that I don't want to be a part of, and I had to get away from it. I had to get away from all the negativity, all the people, and since November, I've just been focusing on myself and doing what I can to grow as a human being. A lot of people in Pakistan hate Christians without even knowing about them at all. But Christians here are so supportive and very kind, and I have a lot of Christian friends. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Yes, we to bridge a gap between religions so we're not at each other's throats. You know, you have to ask yourself, if one religion is telling me to hate somebody, why is a religion who's supposed to be about spirituality telling you to cause chaos and hatred and division? It makes no sense. What I think is the purity of the philosophy has been tainted by rulers who implement their ideas to cause chaos, and those changes never been changed back or looked at as possible things that can be changed because people don't have the authority, right? Only God has the authority. It's a very fine line. And you know, nefarious people who don't give a BS anything about God are going to cross that line, manipulate things to manipulate people because they have no respect for God. And the truth is, you don't know who had, I mean, you can see it through actions, right? You know who has respect for God because you see it through actions, how they live their lives, how they treat others. That is the number one indication of who this person is, right? The behaviors, not the mask they're wearing, not the clothes they're wearing. They could be wearing gold. That doesn't matter. Are you gold? Is your heart gold? That's what's important. Your car is gold? Pfft, I don't give a shit. You think I give a shit that you drive a Bugatti? You think I give a shit that you have a tower of gold? How's this, buddy? How's this? Because you could have that tower of gold, you could have that gold car, but guess what? Your heart's not in the right place. You're causing chaos. You're probably destroying families. You don't even know it. You're probably causing poverty and you don't even know it. There's just things you don't even know because you're in a dark place. You're a dark force in the world. That's what you represent, a dark force. You got to ask yourself, do you want to leave this world representing dark or representing light? You get the choice. You have the choice. You get to decide, represent dark or represent light. Who are you going to represent? What team? You pick. You know what? There is some gray area. And most of the time, you find that peace happens in the gray area, okay? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Not too much purity, because that could be kind of destructive in itself, really, if you think about it. You need both. You need both for stuff to happen. But a little bit too much of that, a little bit too much of that, a little misalignment, it's just chaos, chaos, chaos. Who am I to speak, right? Who the heck am I to speak? I'm nobody. So I'm just talking. I'm just talking. I'm just talking. Man, you have a great attitude. I just want to say you got a winner's attitude. That's all I'm gonna say. Logan, you have a winner's attitude. All you can do is be a representative of good attitude, you know, and people may hate you for it, but you just got to remind people that it's that hatred that keeps them stuck, that keeps them from being productive. It's their own fault. You know, it's got nothing to do with you, me, nothing. Every person's level of vibration has everything to do with themselves. You know, people who look to blame other people are just looking for a way to hate, to cause chaos because of whatever reason, right? They're in that mental capacity. And I'm a human being. I've been there. I've been there enraged. I've been there with hate. I've been there, and it's a place where I go, this is not me. This is not me. This is not me. People pushed me and bullied me for me to get to this point. And you know what? I don't like it. Even the fact for just defending myself, I don't like it. I like the act of defending yourself almost creates more chaos. It's like, okay, you wanna ban me, kick me out, fine, I'll go somewhere else. It's the world is a beautiful garden filled with opportunities. If you're blind to them, that's again your own fault, no one else's fault. It's my fault, my fault, my fault. I take responsibility. I take responsibility. I take responsibility. Yeah, I believe it, brother. I've seen how they are, and at the same time, you almost can't hate them because they're just ignorant, right? You can't hate ignorant people. It's not their fault that they're ignorant. They're just misled, right? That's very important. You cannot look at these people and go, "Oh, I hate them," or no, they're just misled. They're in a time period where they're experiencing something that is part of their lesson. Let them be. If they want to talk to you, talk to them. If they don't get it, walk away. Walk away, or stay and fight the fight. But walk away, because all you're doing is creating chaos. All you're doing is, what I'm saying? If people don't want to hear it, walk away. They're on their own journey. They're going to figure it out, whether through death or whatever. Or I think death is too late. In my opinion, if you don't figure out your life and you die and you think you go to heaven, great. But in my opinion, this is it. This is the realm God created for us to experience. If we miss out, we miss out. That's it. We miss out. You want to live your whole life chained to a religion? Go ahead. You want to be a slave to an authority? Go ahead. I think, in my opinion, God created this realm for us to experience consciousness. And once we're done here, we become part of one, which is what? Infinity. What is infinity? I don't know. Does anybody know? It could be God consciousness. I don't know. We become one with that, But it's like what people say. It's like what people say. A lot of it is like we're in an eggshell, or something. We're in some dimension, right? With that, we know there's some physicality, but when you go down to the small level of things, you see that things are actually connected by energy. Like there's little particles and there's space between them. There's actually, in my body, there's space between this skin and that skin, but for some reason it's held together by energy, right? And this is held together by energy. This is held together by energy. It's insane, right? It's almost very Matrix level stuff. But when you start looking at the world through the eyes of energy and not through the eyes of that lens of, oh, you're that skin color, so I have to hate you. Or, oh, you're that religion, so I have to hate you. No, look at the world for what it is. Pure energy. Different variations of energy, different frequencies, all happening all at once, all around us. In competition, in synchronicity, in harmony sometimes, and sometimes disharmonious. That's the beautiful dimension we live in. You got to have chaos to have order, It's a weird thing. You can't eliminate one or the other. The best thing is to try to figure out a balanced life between all of it, And who knows? Some people believe in reincarnation, which would make sense if this was a dimension that God created for us to experience and learn things. Source of consciousness, which is like probably the main source, which is God, right? And we are like the flickering flame that came from that huge real fire, right? The real source, And so, you flicker out. You're going to flicker out. You're going to pass away. But that doesn't mean that the main source passes away. The main source is there, and as it grows strong and it stays and remains. And some people say that God transformed it. God, the power, energy, God, master, everything, center, everything, creation, whatever, source. It transformed itself to this dimension for us to experience in consciousness. So every human, we're actually all connected because we're all part of the same God consciousness. And so God is experiencing the dimension it created through us and the animals and everything else. Does that make sense? Or am I just spewing nonsense? But that's kind of how I'm starting to see things, like we're all connected. We truly are, and we tend to bring what we're asking, like for instance, and what we're focusing on, we bring it to us. If we're constantly focused on hating our brother, we're going to bring that to us. We're going to bring conflict. We're going to bring problems, right? It's important to realize that us as human beings, we have a heart and a brain, and it's transmitting energy. Our mental states are around us, creating an energy, right? That if you're actually close in contact to me, you can kind of feel it. Probably not through here, but if you're in reality close enough to me, you can feel my energy. My energy is good. It's not bad. It's not like you can feel comfortable. It's not a thing like that. So that tells me that our hearts and minds, whatever we think about, people know. People know what you're thinking about. They can. At least I can look at somebody and go, oh, I have a pretty good idea what they're thinking about. I got a really good idea. I can feel it. I can feel their hatred towards me. Their body language speaks a ton, and so it's weird. It's weird that I can pick up like the fine-tuned resonance that's coming out of people's brains. And so you can't hide things from me because I can feel it. If you lie to me, I can feel it. It's weird. It's like fine-tuning the music, right? I have a really good sense of you play a note, I can repeat that same note to you in like 2 tries, sometimes 1 try. And I haven't studied music. I've never studied music. I don't know how to read music. I just have a fine tune to frequency and resonance, right? I'm very fine tuned to it. I can tell if people are like, if they're just like chaos. I can tell if people are at peace. I can feel it if they're actually there. I can tell if they're full of love and joy, or if they're lacking in it, because a lot of times people come to me because they're lacking joy and happiness, and they see that I have it and they want some of it, and I get it. But the truth is, you're not going to get it from me. You get it from yourself. You get it from yourself by finding the joys in your life, by finding what makes you happy, what fulfills you in life. Not just being told what to do and following orders like a dog, right? That's not a human experience. Anyways, this is me talking, entertainment purposes, whatever. You take it as whatever as you will. Take it for food for thought. If you disagree, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. But there's no reason to cuss me out if you disagree. I appreciate you're making sense. Thank you. Because I don't know sometimes. I don't know if I am or not, to be honest, because I have to be honest with myself and go, I'm not a person of authority. I don't know. There's things I don't know. I just speculate. I have a feeling. And that's enough for me sometimes. That's enough for me to be like, okay. Do I want to? The thing is, I'm not out to get anyone. I don't care about changing systems or throwing off somebody who's got power authority. If anything, like, I'm just an individual, just like everybody else. If I'm smart enough to fine tune my thinking and be, savvy with people, I think that's the best way to be. Is just be savvy with people, be agreeable, be joyful, be caring. Because honestly, that's what people want. That's what we need. We need less hatred because you're one religion and you're not this, or you're so below me because I have so much money, or I have this education and you don't. Why? We're all human beings. We're all experiencing. We all have pain. Why can't we stop for a second and go, hey, do you need something? You need a hand? Do you need some food? Like, can I buy you a sandwich? I have enough for both of us. Would you like that? Where is that? I don't see it in people. I just see people running around with their own busy lives, unhappy, and they're trying to figure out how to get happy. And all they do is keep to the cycle, the routine that they're in, thinking that they're going to be happy one day, and it never comes. Why? Because it's all about what you do. It's all about how you treat yourself and how you treat others, what you think and what you think about others. It's all about that. It's not about serving your masters. You think serving your masters is going to bring you happiness? That's the last thing that's going to bring you happiness. Look, I get it. Sometimes we start in a position of zero and we got to go serve some masters, but that's part of life. I've served a lot of masters, a lot of different companies. I've put in my hours, and all I saw was dissatisfaction, What I got from it was dissatisfaction. They expect me to take that money and give it right back to an apartment complex. Are you kidding me? Who does that? Who does that? Who works really hard to give all their money away to an apartment complex? You have to be pretty, for what? Independence? That's not independence. You're just away from people that love you and that you're supposed to love back. That's where happiness is. And what do? For some reason, as Americans, we have this idea to like abandon our parents and go find an apartment and be away from our parents because, oh, we're independent. Oh, good job. You're independent. You just separated yourself from the source of love and careness that you had. Some people don't have that. I get it. I get it. Some people don't have that. I get it. So you do your best. You do that route. I get it. But there's some people who have that available to them and they throw it out the window. And you ask yourself why you're unhappy. Well, there you go. You just threw away your family away. That's why you're unhappy. For friends who are not going to be there for you. You know what I'm saying? They might be there one day. Next year, they're gone. You know what I'm saying? Never trade your family for friends. Never. Never, ever trade your family for friends. Never do that. You think it's a good idea? No. No. Your parents, your mother, at the end of the day, no matter what's happened, they actually do love you. I've seen so many single parent mothers who end up in divorce, separation, can't see their kids. They suffer so much. You have no idea how much. I've seen it because I've dated and I've seen how they are. And it's like, I'm dating because I'm trying to find somebody special. And, I haven't yet, but that's okay. And maybe I never will. And that's okay too. Because I'm the special one. I always saw myself as being special and I'm okay. I'm okay with being alone. And like some people have issues being alone. And I think that's the number one problem is you don't know how to be happy alone, because you're not fulfilled. You're not pursuing your passions. You're not listening to what your soul is telling you. You're just going about life trying to make the best of it, I guess, like we all are. But are you happy? Is that important to you? Ask yourself why it isn't. Ask yourself why happiness is not the most prioritative thing in your life. It should be. I think making happiness and your joy priority will make everything else good, because you fix the number one issue that most people have, which is being unhappy. You fix that, you fix every single problem in your life. I promise you. You fix that little issue of being unhappy, what happens? You start to get healthier. You start to feel like yourself. Your personality shines. You're more positive. You're less about fear. You're more about trying new things, exploring. You actually want to grow. You actually want to push yourself. You feel fired up. You feel motivated, focused. You feel like you can do anything. You keep building that self-esteem, that confidence day by day. And it all happens because you found the things that bring you joy. Maybe you have things in your life that don't bring you joy, but you can balance that out with the little things that you create for yourself. Maybe that little plant that you bought yourself, a little plant, the little rats that you bought yourself, the little dog or cat you bought yourself. That brings you joy, fulfillment. It's the little things. The little things. Add your life with the little things throughout your time, day by day. When you wake up, fill your whole routine with little things that bring you joy, that remind you of things, an experience that brings you happiness, that takes you back to a place of happiness. Because it's more important to be aligned, to be vibrating high, to be looking at the world with a positive lens. If you're not there, you're going to continue to have trouble after trouble after trouble, focusing on trouble, and creating a momentum behind more problems and more trouble and more unhappiness, versus the other direction, which is more happiness, more growth, more fulfillment. But it's all about what you do. That's it. It comes down to what you do, not what anybody else does, what you do and what you can do to your own life to get there, Anyways, I'm done blabbering. I'm done. Okay. I really appreciate everybody who stopped by. Logan, you've been a fantastic guest here commenting. I really appreciate it. Maybe one day we can do a split screen or something. I love people who come on and say and start talking. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Nothing's gonna happen to you. I won't lash out at you or anything. If anything, I'm trying to be better at that. I'm being very better. If you want to say something nasty, go ahead, say something nasty, and I'll just take it. I'll just take it and laugh at it, and just kind of as a joke, right? Um, okay, I think we're done here. I had a great time. I hope you had a great time. Like I said, I do these morning reflections. Sometimes I do it at midnight. Sometimes I do it in the morning. Sometimes I do both. It just depends how I feel, and having these things help me kind of align myself too. Now it's really time to think about what I'm going to accomplish today. There's a lot of things I need to accomplish today. I'm still running that marathon day to day, posting YouTube stuff, making content, whatever, doing some interesting things, and running after that goal, running towards that goal. 1,000 subs is the first goal on YouTube, and I'm close. I'm very close. It's not about it's not about being desperate and asking, oh, give me a sub, please give me a sub. I'm not bragging. It's just that's my goal. It's been my goal since the beginning of the year. Having that focus from just every day is that focus. Getting subs, getting the YouTube built up and all that stuff, and figuring it out and getting some experience. I'm still a newbie. I may hit 1,000 subs here in a month. I may hit 1 million views here in a month or two, but I'm such a newbie. It's not even funny how much of a newbie I am. And the tech that I have, I just have a cell phone and I use my computer in my office to do the work, some other kinds of work, other kinds of posting and editing. But other than that, I just have my phone and that's it. My phone and my computer and my trailer in the garden. Simple life. I'm not making money off YouTube. That's another goal. But like I said, I got to reach those first goals of 1,000 subs. There's the 3,000 watched hours that once I hit, I think I'm at 1,000 watched hours, which is pretty amazing. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. I've increased watched hours, I think by like in 2 months by like 300, right? That's pretty good. Pretty good. Considering that I don't have a lot to work with and I'm not doing anything extraordinary. I don't have, I'm saying I'm not in a place to do a lot. I just have what I have and it's good enough. It's good enough, and it works. It's working, But the idea is to keep growing with YouTube for the long run, long haul, long run. So I have a strategy, and the strategy is once I reach that first goal is kind of take a break and then start aiming for the second goal, which is 3,000 watched hours by the public, right? And then I'm taking a vacation, and then I'm going to produce my products, the cups, the mugs, the designs, the shirts, the hats, and all kinds of stuff. And for my film festival, it's already done. I already have all the products done for my film festival, but I don't really have one for the channel. So once I have that going, I can connect my film festival products and also my YouTube products and everything that I do to the channel, which is amazing. It's amazing. I've been building this business, this empire for 3 years now, nonstop. That's all I've been focusing on is building my empire. And it's one based on entertainment. I grew up in theater, making movies on my own as a kid, and all that stuff. I worked in the film industry for 5 years. I worked on big sets with big stars. Again, not bragging, just telling you my experience. As a production assistant, I got to be mostly with the crew, but every once in a while I'd be with the A-list people because they saw that I was good, and so they would talk to me and whatnot. We have little conversations. I've had so many little chit chats with so many celebrities. It's crazy. It blows my mind that me, a regular Joe Schmo, nobody, right, living in the middle of the States, I got so many movie productions coming to my town. It's crazy, and it's always been my dream. And they say that when you're positive, you attract the things that you want in life. In a lot of ways, I've always felt like I've always wanted to work with Scorsese, work on his movie, and I could never go out to Hollywood, right? And so I tried sometimes, but it didn't seem right. It's like forced. It came to me. Scorsese came to my state to make a movie. It blew my mind when I was just having dreams of working on set and being with Leo and crossing paths with Leo. I would have dreams. And lo and behold, they came with Killers of the Flower Moon, shot the movie. I got to work on it. And I was actually in TU. One of my last film projects was going to be about the Osage. So I had read the book, I had studied it, and so it was insane that I was having these dreams while I was preparing to make a short film about the Osage. I ended up not doing it because I was having these dreams, and I told myself, okay, just wait till that film comes, and then just go work. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. It's insane. I don't know how it happened. I don't know why. Like, it's just insane that that dream I had came true. And I crossed paths with Leo, just like how I saw in my dream. It's just insane. It's just insane, dude. Like, so I'm having more dreams, actually. I'm having more dreams of working on movie sets. They come and go. I see like little images in my dreams. And I'm just like, no. So is this going to happen again? Like, man, am I going to be working on movies again? That'd be pretty cool. I mean, I'm pretty happy we're just exactly where I am. But if it happens to be that I work on movies again, great. You know, but to be honest, I'd rather work as an actor than a production assistant this time around. I'd much rather do that because it's, you know, when I work as a PA, it's like really easy. Being a PA is really easy. You know, when you start out, it's a little difficult because you're learning the ropes, but it just, you know, I did it for 5 years. It became as easy as breathing being a PA. So I was actually one of the best PAs in the state, and I transitioned to acting, and I guess have you heard of Tulsa King? That show they shot in Oklahoma City? Well, to tell you the truth, it wasn't the weather that Stallone, he says it was hot. And to me, that never made sense because Hollywood's hot as hell. LA's hot as fuck, you know? Like, so the fact that Stallone was, yeah, it's too hot here, and he lives in LA, like one of the hottest places, like, give me a break, dude. How are you going to complain about the temperature here? Well, I've been to LA, and it's hot as balls. So, like, I kind of investigated because I was a stand-in for like a day or two, and I lost that job because I didn't lose it. It's just the actor was done. I was standing in for, they killed him off, so I didn't have that job anymore. And plus, little did the casting director know. I guess he didn't see my picture. I dyed my hair a little blondish. I guess he didn't look at my picture and just was like, oh, let's put him in. And so the people thought it was weird that I was standing in for a guy with gray hair and I had blonde hair, but I guess close enough, maybe. I don't know. Someone said something like, "Oh, your hair's off." Next thing I know, you know, I don't have a job anymore. You know, I don't have another stand-up job. I don't have anything for the whole production. But what I did here, so I worked for like 2 days. I got to see Stallone. It was cool. He was wearing a red jumpsuit. Here's what I don't get about the heat. He was wearing a red jumpsuit that's hot as fuck if you're wearing it, first of all. Second of all, he's in his big ass, air-conditioned, luxurious SUV, like ginormous trailer. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason for him to complain about the heat. It makes no sense. So I looked into it. You know what happened on set? The set, they had really poor PAs. They had bad PAs. They ran the set just poorly, I guess. Somebody almost died. The nicest thing Stallone could have said was, oh, the heat was too much. And what happened? People gave him so much shit. But the fact is, he didn't talk shit about the studio that almost killed somebody on set. Okay? Stallone said, you know what? They're not ready for this kind of show. We're going to move to Atlanta where they actually have productions and studios and have big studios. You know what I'm saying? Oklahoma City was trying to be something they weren't. You know what I'm saying? They were pushing, they were putting all this money, they were trying to bring productions, and what happened? You fucked over a lot of locals who are making independent movies in the state. You fucked over a lot of locals. I'm just going to say it. The state fucked over a lot of locals. Number two, once those productions left, they left. They didn't leave anything behind. They took everything with them. They took the money. They took everything with them. You think they left anything here? No. They left Oklahoma, and they left it in disarray because you have big names trashing the place, trashing mansions, trashing, you know what I'm saying? Just trashing on Oklahoma. They come in here, trash Oklahoma, shoot their movie, and leave. That was the experience. It felt like getting raped. I kid you not. It just felt like getting raped. You know, sorry it's so extreme, but it's just what it felt like. You know, you're a local independent filmmaker here making movies, 17th feature film. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You're an independent filmmaker in Oklahoma. No one's going to give you, the state's not going to give you, they're going to make it so hard for you to get any incentive, or close to impossible, because they want the big names, you know, they want that. Instead of focusing, hey, let's invest in filmmakers in Oklahoma who can bring jobs. No, they don't think that. They think, let's bring Hollywood in and they're going to provide jobs. And then what? They abandon us. They completely abandon us. And what did you do? You abandon the locals. I've abandoned Oklahoma completely. I don't care about Oklahoma now. I mean, I do care, but it's like the film industry here, I could care less. I could care less. I've been pushed to the point where I don't give a shit. I do not give a shit. I don't care who you are, what movie you're making. I don't give a shit. You know, it's tainted. It's completely tainted. They don't know how to treat local artists. They don't know how to treat local filmmakers who've been here doing it for a long time. You know, forget it. I'm done. I went straight to YouTube because I was like, you know what? YouTube doesn't treat me this bad. YouTube doesn't treat me poorly. YouTube is fair. You know, you make it if you make it because of you. There's nobody putting bumps or roadblocks. You know what I'm saying? It's just you. You go out in this world, try to be part of the community. They put so many roadblocks. It's insanity. It's insane. They have their own thoughts of you. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'm done with that. I'm done. So, you know, if somebody wants me in their movie, it's got to be a damn good movie. That's all I'm saying. It better be a damn good movie. You better have your shit together. You better have your insurance. You better have your money. You better have your studio. You better have your I can't even say it. Distribution in place, or at least close. And it better not be a Hallmark movie. It better not be I'm trying to make a movie. Can you help me? No. You want me in your movies because you want me, because you know I can bring it. You know I can bring it. You know I can entertain people. You know I'm really smart with scripts. You know I bring every movie I worked on, just about, I brought in some pure creative idea that somebody took and didn't give me credit for, right? Happens all the time, right? I'm always on set. Genius idea. They just take it. Take credit for it. Right? People have no idea. People have no idea the power of my creativity is just on a different level. It's on a different level completely. Anyways, I'm out. You know, I'm glad that I see that in myself, because I'm always exploring that side of me, you know. But anyways, I'm out of here. I'm going to post some posts and then I'm out of here. Thanks for joining me. I'm Lasso. This is Lasso's Passions, my channel. I'll see you around, people. See you around. I'm going to go live at noon for some live garden action CST. Peace.